Hi, and welcome to another episode of These Jokes Used to Be Edgy, and then we grew up
In
in
5D.
5D. Or we don't want to be canceled. You'll never know.
Yeah. It can be both.
Yeah, it could be a little bit of both, right? Like, the jokes just aren't as funny as they used to be. Some of them still, just a little bit,
Eventually, we'll go back to theme music.
I'm sure. But I feel like we'll go back to theme music.
Today's not our day.
Apparently not.
We good?
I think we're screaming now. I think we had a little hiccup there.
All right.
Yeah. I blame the haters at AT&T.
That's fair.
When in doubt, blame the internet provider.
That's right.
But yeah, no.
Hold on. I'm worried about something here.
What's up?
Audacity does not look like it's recording correctly for me.
That's weird.
The waveform is like not happening.
Okay. Well, we're also live.
Oh, I think I can see what it is. Hold on. We might just have to do a recounting for the podcast. So live,
Yeah.
here's some bonus content for you.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Right. Yep, I can see what the problem. So I updated to Windows 10,
Uh-huh.
and I think it changed some shit.
Oh, yeah. That tends to happen. That's okay. But hey, at least you got a free upgrade, unlike other people who are hitting a wall. Yeah. So there actually was an article about folks that were trying to upgrade, and they
I'm just
couldn't
gonna do a
upgrade
test.
for free.
Just doing a test. Yeah, that looks better already. Okay, I figured it out and I fixed it. We'll stop that. We'll just do a recount and we'll start from there.
Okay. Well,
So now everybody live, you get to see some behind the scenes magic of how we count in.
Yep.
All right, you ready?
And, it's gonna be the same goddamn joke, so laugh again.
All right, yeah. Everybody just laugh again. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3.
Hold on.
Oh, all right, stopping it.
That audio track needed just hot garbage. Just getting rid of all of it.
Yeah.
Gone forever. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Count in.
All right. Ready? 1, 2, 3. 3,
3,
2,
2,
1.
1. Hi. Welcome to another episode of These Jokes Used to Be Edgy, and then we grew up. Oh my god. It's the funniest thing I've ever heard. It's I just had the biggest moment of deja vu for the folks on the podcast.
Yeah.
For the folks live, wink wink. Nah.
Don't explain it.
We're not going to. We're just gonna keep moving on.
Yep.
Moving on to one of my favorite subjects, actually. Batman and Batman related news. So there's a bunch of rumors flying around. The one that was the most interesting was that Batfleck was returning for me. Because he very much made it clear that he was kind of done with the character. And to be fair,
Audiences were real 50-50 on him.
yeah.
And I get it. It's the same. I'll give it. It's the same thing as Cavill as Superman. Like, there's just so many iterations of Superman. It's very easy for somebody to look at any one of them and go, "That ain't my Superman." I've been very vocal that my Superman's Boy Scout Superman. It's just the one that I like. I don't like other Superman. You can say the same thing for Batman. Affleck wasn't some people's Batman, and that's fine.
One of those characters, actually, there aren't that many, but there's characters in media and film and even literature that can be portrayed by different actors over and over again. Right?
And I feel like it's especially true with comics from Marvel and DC. There's been so many voices speaking for these characters, so many artists interpreting these characters, so much time for these characters to have changed who and what they are, that at the end of the day, any portrayal is fine.
Well,
it just might not be one that you like.
Fascinating, and the reason that comics is still very much a medium I enjoy, although I really haven't had that much of a chance to enjoy it as much anymore. Just because it takes time to leaf through something versus now that I'm doing my whole shenanigans of hiking, I can just have audiobooks, right? But comic books tend to be a bit of a mirror of the political times and a mirror of just kind of the changing of society. Like, even if you go as far back as the Victorian era, little the what are they called? The little 10-cent. Do you remember what they were called?
I have no idea what you're talking
They were
about.
like Ashcan comics and stuff, but like
Oh
weird,
yeah, yeah,
weird
yeah, yeah, yeah,
tales.
yeah, yeah.
So it all really started originally with some of the weird tales where you had like the H.P. Lovecrafts and all that, where they worked and they did little stories, but it's then turned into a visual medium, and now like I love Hellblazer, and this is a perfect example of this. But if I go back to and I have to try and get through the Hellblazer series, the 80s comics are so painful.
That's
They're,
that's one of the reasons I could never finish Watchmen. I'm sure the story's fantastic, but the dialogue and the art just don't do it for me. And I'm sure there's comic fans out there who are like, "Oh fuck this guy." Hey man, it's different strokes for different folks. I got into comics in the 90s, and the 90s style is much more my thing, and modern style is much more my thing. I really don't enjoy a lot of like gold and silver age comics.
yeah, I'm the same way, and you know me, I don't even like the mainstream comics, and not because, oh, they're not cool. I like the stories. It's just, it takes so long at this point to jump into any of the stories that,
Well, and it's all cross stuff where you have to buy 10 comics to know what the fuck is going on.
yeah, it just, it doesn't work for me anymore.
I've actually had people point out when they come over and they see my collection, like folks who I talk comics with. I'm a big Flash guy. I'm a big Flash fan. I probably only have 4 or 5 Flash trade paperbacks.
Yeah.
With the mainstream stuff, oftentimes I like characters more than I like
Yeah.
their
They're
actual
comics.
runs. Or like a lot of characters that I really like, I was introduced when they were guesting on another comic.
Yeah.
And so I kind of get into them from these things where they're just showing up in a run and like doing their thing really quick, and not so much a run about them. Comics are weird, man. I was just talking to my wife today. I don't remember how we got on the topic, but it's always so weird to describe to like non-comic fans that there are comics that aren't superhero comics. You know what I mean? Like, have you
Yeah.
ever like mentioned to somebody that you read horror comics and they go like, horror? They make horror comics?
Well,
And I'm like, oh, muffin.
and that's, and by no way is Hellboy like even closely like related to some of the comics that are way out there, right? But Hellboy's pretty mainstream, and a lot of people were like, what's that about?" And you tell them, and
Right.
you're like, "Oh," because you start talking about like the H.P. Lovecraft and the madness and all that stuff. Like, I'm like, homie, you don't even want to read the, what is it, Neonomicon series.
Right. I was actually so my comic book club that I'm in is next month is all about diversity stuff, and so one of the books is actually it's a comic book written by George Takei
Oh, okay.
about the time his family spent in an internment camp. And my wife was talking with some people from work about like having to read this comic, and they went, "Oh God, they make comics about that?" And she was like, "Yeah, they just like regular books. They make all kinds of comics."
Well, and just to get us back over to Batman, one of my favorite parts of that character, and some of the DC characters, is the Elseworlds.
I love the Elseworld stuff.
I
The
enjoy
Elseworlds
that
are
a lot more
so
than their
cool.
mainstream books.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't own it, but I really like Gotham by Gaslamp. Gotham guy.
I have it.
I always butcher the name, but yeah.
It's Gotham by Gaslamp.
Okay. And it's speaking of Hellboy, it is
Mike Mignola.
Yep.
Yeah. I also have.
Oh, nice guy. Just if anybody's wondering. If you see him at San Diego Comic-Con whenever the world reopens and people are allowed to go to Comic-Con again, definitely go by his booth. He's totally willing to chat with people. He's very nice. He's a friendly dude.
He signs stuff. You know what comic I also have? The Bat Lantern comic. I found one.
Is this a run where he has the lantern, or is this the run where him and Lantern are stuck in a cave?
This is the one where he is the Green Lantern, but it's not him. It's Kal-El becomes Batman.
Interesting.
Because he's adopted by the Waynes. And Bruce doesn't exist, and then Superman becomes the Green Lantern.
You know, it's actually kind of covered in mainstream continuity. There's this guy called Sodom Yacht, who is He's from a planet that is similar to Krypton, except I think they don't have the whole yellow sun thing. I think they're just a race of like Kryptonian like people who don't hold me to the sun thing, but I think if I remember correctly, he doesn't even need the sun. And he gets a Green Lantern ring. So it's a guy who's like naturally super strong and can fly and super fast, but he also has a Green Lantern ring. Sodam Yada's dope.
Yeah. And then isn't he supposed to be the ultimate lantern?
Well, at one point he did fuse with whatever gives people the power of Ion. I'm not super hard into Green Lantern, but Ion I believe is like raw power battery or something.
Yeah, I think they
something akin to that.
Well, I think they incorporate the main power battery into themselves or something.
But yeah, he actually gets whatever makes somebody Ion jammed into his heart to where they can't remove it. So he kind of permanently becomes Ion, but that was before the New 52. I don't even know if Sodam Yada exists anymore.
Yeah, that's it's hard. I don't know what anything is anymore. But anyways, back to Batman. What is the Bat news?
So in Bat news, same Bat news, same Bat decade, kind of. Ben Affleck might be coming back for Batman. You saw chat, right?
Kind of, sort of. Yep.
Okay, look at chat. So yeah, the rumor right now is that HBO Max is potentially working on a series that would sort of continue the Zack Snyder verse. It would be Ben Affleck, Jared Leto, and Joe Manganiello. I hope I'm saying that right. I always butcher that poor guy's name. But it would be, them as Batman, the Joker, and Deathstroke, and they would do a little HBO miniseries to kind of continue what that would have looked like. And honestly, personally, I'm for it.
Okay.
I'm not one of the people who hated Ben Affleck's Batman. Honestly, I think Ben Affleck was so not the focus of those movies. You can't really say if he was good or bad. We didn't really get a whole lot of Batman. You know what I mean? You got at best a half a movie of Batman in Batman vs Superman, and then with Justice League. Sure, he's the one who's like going and getting everybody, but there's so much shit happening with so many characters. Like, we didn't really do a deep dive into the character. He was just a fucking guy in a suit. You know what I mean? He was fine.
Honestly, I thought that he was a fine Batman, as in it wasn't about him. So I do tend to agree, but he wasn't
He was better than George Clooney.
Yeah, and you
have to at minimum give him better than George Clooney.
He was not a bad Batman. I don't know why people were so upset. But I mean, that happens, right? Like, to be fair, I learned my lesson with Heath Ledger, and I always say that. But after that, I've always been like, oh, okay, maybe we'll just give him a chance and see how this goes.
You shut up till you see it, because people pull, like, sometimes you're dead on the money, you know what I mean? Sometimes you go, that's a bad casting call. And it's a bad casting call, but sometimes, man, you go, that's going to be shit, and it turns, or even the opposite, though I'm not one of the people who agree with this, but people saw Ben Kingsley as the Mandarin, and then they were like, oh, fuck, that's dope, and then he wasn't even the fucking Mandarin. You know what I mean? A lot of people hate that twist. A lot of people shit all over that Mandarin twist. I actually don't hate it. I think it's fine.
To be fair, I don't like that whole movie. Wait, that 3 or 2? I forget.
3.
Oh,
2 is Whiplash.
Yeah, 3 was good. 2 was terrible.
3's fine. Like, I sure it's not like the comic, but I don't know. Like, you didn't see it coming, bro. So
3 felt like they were trying to humanize the character, which gave him a little bit more depth for the kind of stuff he gets into in the other movies.
Also, just
honestly.
At the time with where the MCU was, the Mandarin wasn't gonna make any fucking sense. An evil old Chinese guy with magic rings from space, like, it wasn't gonna work.
I always thought that they were gonna have to introduce the Mandarin through Strange and then work it in that way.
So there's your better call. If you're gonna do Mandarin, the way they did Mandarin is fine, but the better call was just not to do Mandarin. I'll give it that. That's like fucking doing a first Fantastic Four movie with Fing Fang Foom as the bad guy. You don't lead with Space Dragon, even at a third movie. You don't drop space rings until you like. I think you could do Mandarin now with how the MCU has folded. And actually, honestly, even just seeing how Doctor Strange and Iron Man reacted to each other, I think you could bring in Mandarin, and then it becomes this thing that's like just as frustrating for him because he doesn't even believe in this, and the whole time it's secretly like, oh, it's a space ring. You're like Thor. You're not fucking mad. Like that's his big thing at the end. You know what I mean? He gets it. He figures it would work now. But even having said that, I don't hate that. I don't think it's the best thing ever. It's not the best Iron Man movie. It's still better than 2. But it's not that bad. Honestly, it felt like something out of Ultimate. Ultimate threw some really weird twists in that made you go, what? But it was still fine. It felt like an Ultimate twist, and that's why I'll give it credit. It's getting some hate in chat, and I respect it. It's fine. You don't gotta like everything, but I will say, if you haven't tried too much Ultimate, try some Ultimate and then tell me that twist does not feel like it totally fits in with the Ultimate stuff.
And to be fair to the folks who are actually upset about the extremist stuff, like that was in the comics. Yeah. That is very much in the comics. It's not
extremist was a thing.
They didn't make it up for the movie. Yeah, it wasn't maybe done the best way, but his whole like back and forth with the kid was great. Like
yeah, I liked that he showed up for the funeral. I was like, who's that kid? Oh shit, because it's been a few years and people hit puberty.
Yeah, exactly, right? There's that. So one rumor that I've heard, and I don't know if this has made it to you, but there's rumor that they're gonna have in whatever their next little event is, they're gonna have like 3 or 4 different Batmans and all that.
So the standing rumor from DC is that they're no longer focusing on an interconnected universe, but are just focusing on telling stories of superheroes. So yeah, there might be multiple Batmans. Considering that Shazam, Aquaman, and Wonder Woman are doing well, I wouldn't expect spin-offs of those, but I would expect a couple of different iterations of Batman and Superman until they get it right. And just with the production hell that Flash has been in, I'm willing to bet that if that is not an immediate success, you could count on a different Flash coming up pretty quickly after the first Flash. Same with Green Lantern, though with Green Lantern, I like that opens up possibilities because there are so many Green Lanterns.
Yeah.
If you do a movie that doesn't have the first guy, you don't have to be like, oh, we're recasting Hal Jordan. You can just say we're doing Jon Stewart instead of Hal Jordan. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I still want Kyle.
We all want Kyle. I mean, what we really want is the Kyle Reiner, Guy Gardner, buddy space cop movie.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
That mainstream doesn't know that they need. But trust me, for any comic layman who's listening right now, you want that in your life.
Yeah, except Guy is the worst Lantern ever.
That's what makes it so good.
Yeah.
Can we take like 2 minutes? Do you want to try and fantasy cast that really quick? Oh, and who's your villain? Who's your villain for? It's gotta be. Here's the context though, because this might change who your villain is.
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
I mean?
Okay.
Like if I'm doing Green Lantern, I'm throwing an Atrocitus, but not this movie.
No,
because this movie
set it up.
This is Kyle Reiner and Guy Gardner. They've both been in the Green Lantern Corps for a while, and they're not on Earth anymore. They're out in the Corps. And they're out doing like space cop stuff, you know what I mean? And it's Kyle Reiner is more your straight man, and then Guy Gardner is your fucking hothead rogue cop, flips a table, pissed off at the Owens. And you got it like almost 21 Jump Street-ish, you know what I mean? It's ridiculous space cop. Think Guardians of the Galaxy meets 21 Jump Street. I think you've nailed your film.
Okay. So check this out. Here's the plot that I would throw before I do a fantasy cast.
Yeah. Do it.
Here's the flow. Here's the villain. I would make the villain Larfleeze.
Ooh, good call.
And here's what it would be. They are on a routine patrol of sector whatever. Make it up as you go along. And Guy is pissed off that he's on another bullshit patrol, and he hits just some backwater planet, and he takes something. He takes something that belongs to Larfleeze.
They just find they find one of his little stash planets.
Yeah, they find a stash planet, and he takes something innocuous, something stupid. Because you remember his jacket, his like leather jacket, or like he just takes something stupid like that, and that gets Larfleeze involved. Jesus, why can I not say that name today?
Do you want to just knock it out 3 times really quick so you can
No,
lock it
no,
in?
I'm giving up on it. So that he's the villain, and that is the setup.
Okay.
Who's your fantasy cast?
Oh man, I don't know that I have. So Kyle Reiner is he full Hispanic or half Hispanic?
I think he's half. I will look this up.
But that's what makes it so hard is you want somebody who's really lighthearted, but you also want somebody who actually represents the character.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know that I have a good one like offhand to just go, here you go, wrap that sumbitch up. You know what I mean?
So for Guy Gardner, you know which dude? Because he actually, I believe he got a little yoked. Do you remember the actor who played Christopher Titus's brother on the Titus Show?
Yeah, Dave.
Yeah. Let me see if I can look that
He'd
up.
have to get a little yoked up for it, but I'd be into it.
Yeah, he would just need to be a little buffer, but like he's got that attitude that really like just fucking around kind of.
You know what I'd
attitude.
say? For Guy Gardner, I like where you're going with almost kind of like roid rage look.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say, and because I don't know this medium well enough to name somebody specifically, but because it's had a good pool of actors come out, a good pool of actors come out of it. Let's grab some WWE star to rock out Guy Gardner just so he can be properly over the top and pissed off. You know what I mean? Like
Okay.
he's got to have that dialed in, like just pissed about everything. And I think I just realized I'm saying you know what I mean a lot, but this is what comics does to me is I feel like nobody ever understands what the fuck I'm talking about. With comic books. Yeah, I think you need that like that cocky roid rage vibe, and who better to provide that than like your Stone Cold Steve Austin, your John Cena, your Dave Batista. I don't know if there's like a Ginge WWE star, but you know we got hair dye and stuff. I think one of them could pull it. I just can't think of another like uber buff ginger except for throwing out maybe like who's the dude who played Whiplash? Mickey Rourke or something, who I don't think is actually ginger, but I think he can pull it off.
Yeah, wait, what was the name of the guy that played in the Watchmen movie? He was the ginger. What was
the guy who played
name?
Rorschach?
Yeah.
He's too old and he's not yoked enough.
Oh, okay. So he just age got him.
Yeah. He also played Freddy Krueger in the reboot, and it did not do very well. Now, Kyle Rayner's the harder one for me. Because you want to get a straight man, but you almost want to lean towards like a Ryan Reynolds or the guy who plays Ant-Man. Fuck, I'm so mad because I actually love him and I can't think of his name right now. Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd. No,
you kind of
okay.
You need somebody who's like quippy. He needs to play off Guy. He needs to know Guy's an idiot, but be a good enough guy to be relatable to your audience. You need a Paul Rudd or a Ryan Reynolds or a Star-Lord fucking guy.
Oh, Chris Pratt.
Yeah, you need a straight man who has wit. That's your Kyle Reiner.
Wait, you know,
and again, I'm not saying that that's the character in the comic. I'm saying that's what you need for this buddy cop movie.
I know the ethnicity doesn't fit, but you know who'd be a good one? John Krasinski.
Yeah. Actually, I do buy him for it.
Yeah, because he can pull the comedy, but I saw him in the Jack Ryan stuff, and he can also do actiony serious like when he needs to.
Yeah.
I think that would be pretty good.
Let's get this fantasy cast out of the way. If we're going to be picking a Jon Stewart, just for anybody who's curious about our Jon Stewart, I'm going to go with the guy who was actually supposed to get the role until the movie got canceled, Common.
I don't know who this is.
Yeah, you do. If you Google Common rapper / actor, I think it's 2 M's. COMON, COMMON. I don't know how spelling works, but his name's Common. He was in Smokin' Aces.
Oh, I know.
He was supposed to play Jon Stewart, and I actually think he would nail Jon Stewart.
Yeah.
He'd kill it. Former Marine becomes Green Lantern. Fuck yeah, hook it up.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely.
Unless you're trying to go for an older, grizzled Jon Stewart, then you use Keith David.
Okay.
Google it again.
Yeah,
you know
Keith David I know. Of course I knew Keith David. He did a bunch of voices in Halo.
If you want to do an older, like a wizened John Stewart.
Actually, no.
go
I
Keith
think
David.
Idris.
I feel like I feel
Idris still
about
looks
Idris
like he could
Elba the
kick
same
ass.
way I feel about Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange. That's your safe call. You're not doing anything special with that role. You're going to deliver people exactly what they thought. It's not left field. It's not interesting. It's your safe bet. Because he's played a tough guy Marine. This is just a tough guy Marine who glows green.
Well, that's true, but I don't know.
I like Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange, but I feel like it was a safe choice. I feel like they could have gone with a more interesting choice, and that movie might have flipped people's fucking minds.
Who? So who would be your better cast for that role?
Okay, I'm gonna give you two,
Okay.
knowing that people will hate me for both for
That's
different
okay.
reasons, but I think any of them would have to admit that it still worked.
Okay.
So the first, even I hate this, but it fucking works. I hate it. I hate it.
Okay.
But it works. Tom Cruise could have played Doctor Strange.
Okay. All right.
He has the right look. He has the right kind of like eccentric flair. We know he can do a weird character based off Tropic Thunder alone. So
Yeah,
he could
that's
add
true.
some mannerism. Like, I'm not even saying it has to be that character, but you know, he can throw in some kind of weird mannerism. He can play cocky for the beginning. He can play humbled. As much as I don't like Tom Cruise, the fucking guy has proven that he has range. Love or
Yeah.
hate him, he has good films, and I think he could have rocked Doctor Strange.
Okay. I can see that. What's
Do you
your
want my
other
fun one? Here's
Sure.
my fun one that I think is a role of it's your Heath Ledger.
Okay.
Nobody's gonna like it at first, but I think the actor actually has the chops to pull it off and blow people away. I think Simon Pegg could have done it.
Doctor Strange?
I think he could have done it.
Um
Again, it's the weird one where everybody's gonna go, no, what's wrong with you? Look at his full body of work, not just his Cornetto stuff. He's done
Yeah.
serious, he's done action, he's done a little bit of snark and wit. I think Simon Pegg could actually pull Doctor Strange off.
But Doctor Strange was always he was very haughty and I don't know. I guess I just don't.
But he's played that. Have you seen How to Lose Friends and Alienate People?
Yeah, of
or,
course.
Like he has range. Simon Pegg has range, and he knows how to ride into a character, and I think he could do it.
Okay.
That's my bold pick. That's my you're gonna raise eyebrows, and people are gonna show up just to see how it shakes out. That's my pick.
Yeah, I probably okay. I won't dispute it, but it's a little weird.
Can I guess yours? Are you leaning like a Pierce Brosnan?
Actually, I was thinking at least to begin with a little bit more rugged, and I think you're gonna hate me for this, but Jeffrey
John
Dean Morgan.
Cena. Who?
Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Yeah, okay. I buy the look.
The look, and I think he can pull off like reserved, haughty. Always thinks he's right. Well,
Yeah,
Like,
but remember,
have you-
he's got to learn to overcome that.
true. But have you seen something like The Losers or like not just like him?
You know, I
and-
saw it, and it's not at all memorable to me.
Okay, so I think he could do it. I also remember him in not Futurama, in Supernatural, and
Yeah, I didn't watch that shit.
yeah, I know. So I think he would be great for that. Now, Hal Jordan, we're this is gonna be the Fantasy Cast podcast. We're doing this.
Yep, I'm into it.
Hal Jordan is tough.
Hal Jordan is really hard. More so because I like an older Hal Jordan.
Yes,
I like a Hal Jordan with a little gray on
and
his head.
I was thinking that as well. Do you remember Pacific Rim?
Yep.
The first one. He was one of the two pilots of the newest one, like their flagship.
Yeah, there's the dad and the son.
Yeah, so the dad.
Okay.
I think he'd do well,
Is that
because
the same guy I'm thinking of?
but
Hold on,
he's
now
an
I have to look up
older.
Pac-Rim.
He's an older guy. I think it's Max Martini.
You're telling me that there's a human being out there named Max Martini?
Yep, Max Martini.
Shit, yeah, it is. Look at you.
Um,
That's a dope name. How is this guy not an Maximilian Carlo Martini? This guy should be in everything.
but yeah, I think he would do an older Hal Jordan.
Yeah. Have you heard the one that Hollywood keeps talking about, and I actually don't agree with?
Oh no, please.
Tom Cruise. I don't like him for Hal.
I don't think so.
I feel like he's just gonna want to play Maverick.
Which I'm okay with, by the way. Top Gun 2, I don't know when it's coming out, but
I should have
I
known you
need
were
it.
gonna go for it. I should have known.
no, I am not okay with him being Hal Jordan, but I am okay with him being in Top Gun 2. Hal Jordan. So here's my problem with him. I would rather have someone like Brendan Fraser play Hal Jordan than Tom Cruise, because where I think Hal Jordan needs to be serious when it suits him, he also needs that kind of cocky air. And Tom Cruise has, at least what I've seen, it's been lately more of a cheeky cockiness, like very sure of himself.
Sure.
But
So I'll admit, I'm cheating a little bit here. I wanted to kind of see what the internet thought of some Hal Jordan casting, and what's funny is a lot of people we've named people want for Hal Jordan. I'm just going to throw out the ones we've named. But on this first list I pull up, Idris Elba, John Krasinski, Tom Cruise, all on a list to play. I will. I'm going to give credit to it. It's JoeBlow.com. Not that they need our pushing. I'll give them this though. They have an interesting cast that I know is going to piss off a lot of people. And I'm just going to get this out of the way right now. Shut up! I don't care about your opinion. I think it'll be fine. Shut up. Well, no. You're gonna see why I'm saying like normally like, hey, write in and let us know what you think. I don't care what you think about this one. I think it'd be fun.
Okay.
John Boyega.
For Hal?
Yeah. Fuck it. I think it'd actually be really fun. He's a fantastic actor, and I think he could pull it off.
I'm unfortunately, I my opinion is incomplete here because I've only ever seen him in Star Wars.
You didn't see Attack the Block?
I still haven't seen it.
Dude, Attack the Block is so good.
So because remember, no, that's not true. I've also seen him in Pacific Rim Uprising, and that was horrible. So
yeah, but that wasn't his fault that it was.
No,
horrible.
I'm not saying it was his fault. I just that movie was terrible.
So here's one that I buy, especially if you're doing older. They throw out Brad Pitt.
Ooh.
I can kind of buy it, but you have to be like he's older these days, guys. Like let's just face it, Brad Pitt's not going to be young and delicious forever. So let's use it while we can. I think he could pull it off.
I think so. I think Brad Pitt now would be able to pull it off because dude, Brad Pitt has some fucking range.
So so these guys are out of casting for this, but this is one I'm going to kind of go off on a little bit of a tangent because I want to talk to you about it.
Okay.
So these guys throw out Timothy Olyphant for Hal Jordan. I like it. I don't love it.
I don't like him for Hal. Maybe Raynor?
He's too old for Raynor. Raynor needs to be young. We need a youthful Raynor.
No, what's his name? Now it just came to me. You're gonna hate this because he was in the Transformer movies.
Shia LaBeouf.
No, Josh Duhamel, I think.
The guy you're talking about who fucking looks like Timothy Olyphant. No, I buy that. I
think he could do a great Raynor.
Yeah. Well done. But speaking of Timothy Olyphant, have you sat the fuck down and watched The Mandalorian yet?
Yes, all of the first season.
That's all it's out.
Cool.
So, there has been casting news for the second season.
Mm-hmm.
Timothy Olyphant has been cast for a role in Mandalorian Season 2.
Okay.
This is not confirmed, but I've got a fan theory, and I'm going to be, like, I've already built up this fan theory so much in my head, I'm actually going to be mad when I'm not just right. It's going to be one of those situations where I'm going to be pissed off that I'm not special. Do you remember, and we talked about it on the podcast before, but it's been a while, there was the fantastic books that bridge episode 6 and episode 7. It's all the shit in between that. And it's this whole
that's right,
story.
like the Battle of Jakku and all that.
Yes, but every couple of chapters, you get filler arc of just something going on in the galaxy. And sometimes it's like a Han and Chewie story. Sometimes it's about characters you've never heard of. But one that they keep revisiting is about this dude named Cobb. Cobb is this dude on Tatooine who finds himself some Mandalorian armor, very strongly hinted at that it's Boba Fett's armor, though I don't believe it's 100% confirmed. And so he gets himself some Mandalorian armor, and he goes about Tatooine declaring himself as the sheriff of Tatooine and just becoming the law. No more slaves, no more slavers. No more corporations coming in and strip mining it. Tatooine is a place that's going to be owned by the people for the fucking people. And that's Cobb's whole thing. He's just like, basically, he's hard-ass Star Wars Clint Eastwood in Mandalorian armor.
Okay.
So, with Timothy Olyphant getting cast in Mandalorian Season 2, there is some online speculation that he might be playing Cobb. And I gotta say, if you want a hard-ass modern space Clint Eastwood, Timothy Olyphant is 100% the guy you go with.
I never saw the whole show, but I hear Justified was pretty on point.
I didn't see it either, but even just seeing his other stuff, he plays grounded and dark, and he plays out there and weird so well.
So I know a lot of people hated the movie, but the Hitman movie with Timothy Olyphant was actually I liked his portrayal of him.
I never saw it.
So the movie itself felt like rehashing the work that Transporter already had hashed. And,
ooh, that sucks. Transporter's already really good.
Yeah, but the problem was that I really liked his portrayal of was it Agent 47?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he did well. I like Timothy Olyphant. I can't say that he'd be the perfect Hal. I don't know, man. I don't think.
I don't give a shit about Hal anymore. I'm so excited for him to play Cobb. It's gonna be Cobb. He's gonna play Cobb, guys. It's you're gonna get Cobb, and Cobb is gonna be the space badass dude. So what Cobb does in the run of this book? He shows up. He finds. Do you remember the guy in episode 5 or 6? Fuck no, it's got to be 5 is the downer, so it's got to be 6. I always watch Star Wars all right in a row, and then they all start to like blend into one movie, and I forget where one picks up and one ends. It's got to be the opening to 6 when Luke goes in and kills the Rancor. That's 6, right?
That's Return of the Jedi.
So 6, yeah,
I believe so.
Yeah, because it's Empire Strikes Back and then Return of the Jedi. So 6. So the fat guy who's down and he's all sad when the Rancor gets killed.
Yeah.
That guy is Jabba's private menagerie operations specialist. He raises all the creatures for Jabba.
Okay, he's like the Beastmaster, the groundskeeper.
Right, so after Jabba's killed, Homeboy just stays there until the animals start dying. Because he's got nowhere else to go. He's just there to raise the animals. And then he goes out and he wanders the desert. And he meets Cobb. And Cobb brings him and he goes, I have a fucking job for you. And Cobb brings him a baby fucking hut.
Oh.
And he goes, yeah, I got really sick of these assholes running this planet. So I killed them. And I took the heir to the hut throne. So you're going to raise it, because I don't know shit about huts. You're going to raise it, and we're going to install him as a puppet figurehead. But the whole time, Papa Cobb going to be running that shit. Because Cobb's real done with people running this shit like shit. Like, Cobb is a badass. So then he goes and he takes the hut, he kicks the corporations off of Tatooine, and steals back a whole set of Mandalorian armor. Cobb is not fucking around. That is the best character that's introduced in Aftermath.
Okay, so interesting. Is that what they're saying is the Boba Fett armor that they saw in Mandalorian?
So the rumor right now is they're bringing back the original Boba Fett actor because Boba Fett would be older. And Boba Fett will appear in some capacity, though most likely it's just a cameo. And I believe he will appear, though what could happen is it could be an episode or 2 of Boba coming back looking for his armor and having to try and get it off of Cobb.
Oh, that'd be cool. That'd be interesting.
So into it. And Cobb better win because Cobb's a badass. And honestly, Boba's a little bitch.
I haven't read any of the Legends stuff that includes him.
Actually, you can just watch Star Wars Clone Wars.
Oh,
to get a little bit more information on Boba Fett. Boba Fett ends up running with a group of mercenaries for a long time after his father is killed and before he shows
I
up.
always thought it'd be great if they did a kind of a bank heist Boba Fett movie.
You know what the world really needs right now is a new Star Wars bounty hunter game. Think if like
Yeah.
Rockstar did an open world Star Wars bounty hunter.
Well, isn't that what Star Wars and there were a bunch of numbers after it was supposed to be?
Yeah, we don't want to talk about that. That wound is still really open for a lot of people.
Yeah, I was really looking forward to that because I was hoping it would be very much a not necessarily a first person shooter, but more Skyrim-ish.
It was like a Mass Effect Star Wars game.
Yeah, that's really what I mean. I would have loved that.
Yeah. You just creamed your shorts when I said it.
Oh yeah, all three shorts.
Yeah.
Yeah, coming out of all of my orifices.
Just squishing
Joy.
hard.
Just joy. Squishy joy. All right, so Star Wars is in a weird place. There have been some rumors about it rebooting. I haven't looked too much into it. Are you thinking?
It's not going to happen.
There's rumors that they're going to be like, 7, 8, and 9 weren't real. Just kidding. Ha ha ha.
No, but flat out bullshit. If anything, they'd reboot 1, 2, and 3 before they rebooted 7, 8, and 9. There's no chance in hell.
Interesting.
Does not have a snowball's chance in hell because too much is built off of it. There's already too many running side stories that are doing well enough, and the comics haven't won over people who weren't already reading Star Wars comics, but the people who were already reading Star Wars comics actually are pretty happy with the comics, with the TV shows, with the books, or you know what I mean. The extended universe fans largely are happy with the new extended universe, and to rip it all back and restart it, it's not an option. Anybody who's convincing themselves that this is really going to happen, you're the same fool who is convincing themselves that the Old Republic is still canon. It's not. It's not.
Sadness.
I've met some people like, yeah, they said it. They said it. Cool. Show me the article where they said it.
They haven't said it. They just haven't said no.
Yes, they have. They haven't said specifically no, not that, but they have said, here is what is officially still canon.
Yeah.
It's not on that list. None of the games. None of them. Starkiller does not exist anymore. KOTOR is not canon. The movies and the TV shows, minus the holiday special and the Ewok movies. That is what is canon. And then any of the new stuff they've made. Nothing else.
Interesting. Well...
And I don't see a reboot happening, especially since they're not focusing on that timeline anymore. The focus for Star Wars is now taking place in other timelines. One of the newest things they've just launched, it takes place thousands of years before the Jedi Council. This is when the Jedi is still the reigning government in the galaxy. And they just released, I think, either the first or the first 2 books in a young adult series that is flagshipping it. But it will also feature a few, I don't want to say adult books because that gives it the wrong, the wrong impression. Just not young adult books.
Yeah, just
and a comic
normal
series.
novels.
Yeah, just books. But they're going to release a few regular books for that time frame, and they're going to release a few comics for that time frame. So it's and before they weren't happening, and these getting canceled had nothing to do with the performance on 7, 8, and 9. The guys who did Game of Thrones were going to be doing a Star Wars series that was said to take place at the beginning of when the Jedi started taking power in the galaxy. So based on all of the projects, the standalone Boba Fett movie has been canceled. It sounds like they are going to move forward with a young Obi-Wan show, but so far, most of the timelines that it sounds like they're looking at are not in this timeline. So I don't see why you would redo 7 when you're already just going to focus on other points in time. And honestly, that's the better call. Let's just look at stories that don't have a Skywalker, that don't have a Solo, that are just stories from this giant universe that has tons of other interesting shit happening.
Well, and even something like the Hyperspace Wars, although again that's Legends now, but something like
Right.
that.
Or fuck it, let's bring the Yuzan Vong back and do something past these wars. Let's do a story of smugglers. Let's do like a Band of Brothers kind of show during the Clone Wars. Let's do anything that isn't territory that we've already walked on, because you're never going to win. Even if they redo it and it's not social justice-y. Remember what we got with 1, 2, and 3. It was suddenly a fucking political drama, and nobody wanted that either. Let's just do Star Wars things that can, like, think about Rogue One. Rogue One stood on its own, and it was good because it stood on its own.
We should write a romantic comedy in the Star Wars universe.
I would legitimately watch it.
That's what I'm saying. Like I wonder if it's something where you can do something like that and just be like, it's in this universe. It comes up in the background, but this is what an average citizen of the Empire or a citizen of whatever, time period you are, the Republic is like. Hey. And you can branch stuff off.
I feel like canceling Star Wars detours actually hurt the Star Wars franchise as a whole.
Oh, interesting.
Because you're leaving parodies of Star Wars to come from sources that aren't Star Wars. Whereas if the source material makes a bunch of jokes about Star Wars, you normalize it. You say, hey man, it's all for fun. We can make jokes. We can do sillies. We can tell stories that you don't have to take seriously. And I feel like people would be more accepting of a quote-unquote bad Star Wars movie when you've already established that, hey, we've reached the point where it can be a parody. We've reached the point where we can do some silly, goofy, fun, dorky shit, and it doesn't all have to be box office blowing, crazy Star Wars events. You normalize it. You know what I mean? You take the sting out of it.
Yeah, but do you really want to normalize it to the point where it's banal like that, right? Like,
yes,
it's no longer special. I don't know, man.
Because it can't be special forever. You're setting it up for failure.
That's true.
By holding it to this tier, you're only setting up to divide the audience. Whereas if you just make a little bit of everything, make kids cartoons and young adult cartoons and adult cartoons and video games and point-and-click adventure games and comedy parodies and fucking musicals or whatever.
You're basically saying you'll be able to find something for somebody.
Right. So you don't like that version of 8.
Along the side of things, it's something that at least in the video game Star Wars has always done. But what did you think of the new Star Wars game announcement?
Wait, there's a new Star Wars game?
Yeah, it's here's why you probably don't know about it. I believe it's called Squadrons, and it's a fighter game.
Oh god damn it! Is this flying ships?
Yeah, but that was originally some of the most popular games in the Star Wars genre.
Let me see how long I can do this. I'm over this bit.
I played him. I played Starfighter. X-Wing and TIE Fighter. Back in the day, I love those games. So it looks like it could be fun. It actually looks like. Do you remember Squadron 42? I think is from the Star Citizen guys.
Nope.
Yeah, it definitely looks interesting, and you have no interest whatsoever.
No, I'm sorry. Anything where you make me drive a car or fly a plane, it automatically loses points with me. Like, I'm not a Star Fox guy either. Like, I don't handle all this up is down, and no, think of it like tilting that. No, I can't do it. I can't fly, and even inverting it. Then my brain goes, oh wait, it's that thing that's wrong. Oh wait, no, it's not. You fix that. I can't play them. I have no ability to play them.
I have. It's weird. I don't play inverted on computer, but I play on console. It's always inverted.
Ugh.
Like,
get out.
Like, even when I plug my controller into my computer, it has to be inverted. Like, it just doesn't register in my head because of all the Halo I played. I played a lot of Halo.
I played Halo. It wasn't fucking inverted for me.
It came that way when I bought my first Xbox. That's just how it came. So I got used to it. Oh, I'm sure. That's what I got used to. So.
Oh, gross.
I don't know. It works for me. It is weird though.
You know what I really think kills it for me is I understand forward tilting down, but I will never understand backward tilting up. It just, my brain will never register that, because up can also be translated as forward, but I never translate down as backwards.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
like I don't know why, but my brain just does not make that jump. I can't do it.
The only time that works is for when like your character's crawling or something, and then down is backwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, or like when you're on a ladder or something.
I don't like it.
Yeah. I don't.
So are you
disagree.
excited? So I take it Rogue Squadron is going to take place during 4, 5, 6, or are they continuing Rogue Squadron into the modern?
No, it's just
modern
called
era?
Star Wars Squadrons.
Oh, interesting.
It's not called Rogue Squadron. Rogue Squadron.
Do we
was
know
its
what
own
era
thing.
it's taking place in?
I don't know. That's a good question. Let's see here.
And do we know, is it going to be X-wing, Y-wing, A-wings?
So there, I do remember there being X-wings.
Okay.
So, upcoming Space
Safe.
Combat game set. It doesn't say when.
Okay.
Excuse me. Let's see here.
All we need to do is look at the enemy ships, and we can decide this really quickly. Star Wars Squadrons.
Okay, so you're flying for the New Republic's Vanguard Squadron, so it's New Republic.
New Republic. Okay, so we're in 7, 8, and 9 territory.
Exactly.
Not in.
But the Empire is still around. It supports up to 10.
It's dead air. What are you reading?
Huh?
Uh-oh. I think you had another little freeze up and glitch.
Oh, potentially, yeah, but no. So it's 10 players, and you are.
Oh, God! It's like a mass. Oh,
it's
gross.
a
This
dogfight.
just got worse. This just got so much worse. Oh, I hate it so much more now.
Yeah,
It was bad enough when it was a single player Star
So
Fox
it-
kind of thing.
It looks like it's basically Battlefront but in space.
Oh, God.
This might be interesting, man. If done right, like I think it could be interesting. Imagine being a pilot ace in a big server, right? Like
This is going to be one of those ones that all of you guys are going to beg me to play with you, and I will not spend money on this. Even if you
know.
buy it for me, that will be wasted. I will not load this. I will not play this. I already hate it. It doesn't even exist yet, and I hate it.
It's a bit of a strategy game as well, man. Think about it. Like a lot of times, you also have to make sure that you got your shields covered properly. You got
Is
your
EA
throttle
making this?
correctly. Probably they're the only ones fucking licensed to do
Yeah,
Star Wars.
publishers
games.
Electronic Arts. So get ready to pay $1 every time you want to recharge your fucking shields.
Okay.
No, this is gonna be gross.
I don't know. We'll see. I'm not gonna say that I'll buy it outright, but like even on Xbox, I used to play a lot of airplane games.
Hate them.
Ace
I
Combat.
get a lot of people like them, and if you do, more power to you. I hate them.
Fair enough. All right, and that brings us to the end of our show here, and I think you should do the outro. That's on you now. Okay, thanks. Bye.
Oh, let's see how many things we publish on that I remember. You can see us on n5dproductions.com. That's where you can download any and all of the podcasts we do, like the Bias Bros, every other Thursday. Usually posts around 6:30 to 7-ish. That one does not play live. You have us right here, the 5D Podcast, at youtube.com/5D Podcast Live. There's the Metagame Network, twitch.tv/Metagame Network. Right now, the only shows I know for sure are Tuesdays and Wednesdays, starting like 6:30 to 7, somewhere right in that ballpark. And I think there's drop-ins a lot of the time. Other than that, those are the only set times for those. You can find us on Facebook, on the Metagame Network Facebook page. You can find us on Twitter.
Yes, in 5D Podcasts.
And I believe there is a Bias Bros podcast Twitter. I don't use the Twitters.
Yeah, we're not very good at this social media. We are getting better. And then there's also going to
Trying.
be surprise casts that are going to be popping up within the next couple of weeks. I'll make sure that
Ooh.
stuff gets also uploaded to YouTube, or at least simulcast, so we can be live there as well. And
Yeah.
that's basically going to be me. I picked up a couple games there is these adventure, almost investigative horror games that I picked up, set in the Secret World universe, called I believe it's called the Black Guardians. So ever so often they release new games that are different types. Like there was the Park, where it was just a creepy walk along, almost like a Dear Esther with some interactive movements, and it told the story of in the park that's made in the Secret World, that first island, like how it got so haunted and anyway shit like that. So anyway, so I'm gonna be doing some of that, maybe some Earth Defense Force, but just kind of random. Whenever I get a chance, I'm gonna pop in, do an hour or two stream, and then just do little bonus videos. No schedule on those because they'll pop up as I have a time. On that note, Bonsai, final words.
Lancer's my new favorite game.
Cool. That's a tabletop RPG. Bye.
Yes. Bye. It's actually a pen and paper RPG. That is a different thing. Bye.